All right, guys, we're gonna start again from the beginning. Ignore the last intro.
Take two.
Take two. Take two. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, the Wrestling Classic. I'm here with none other than Mustafa Ali. How are we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Vegas, we doing all right? We have 7 people in the crowd for this.
And all 7 of them are gonna have to listen to our voices. We have one mic, 2 guys, 1 mic. That sounds weird, I don't know. But first things first, how are we doing? Let's talk about re-signing with TNA. That's something you did recently?
Yeah.
What made you make that decision?
So I think TNA is on the up and up with a lot of things, but one major decision with that was just the opportunity to be creatively heard, you know? And that's not a knock anywhere else. I just feel like with WWE and AEW, there's so much talent in top positions right now that I feel like a talent like me, the position I'm in, to try to break through that creatively, it would be a bit of a challenge. And then TNA was like open door, open arms, open checkbook. So yeah, it was great, and I'm very, very happy with my time at TNA, and I look forward to working with them.
It's fun that we're passing back this one mic back and forth, but that being said, let me ask you this though, like how do you feel about everything you're doing character-wise right now? How'd you come up with it?
Yeah.
What was the idea of having your own, pretty much like government cabinet going on right now? And Mustafa we trust and Ali we trust.
Yeah.
What was the conception behind all that?
So I honestly think right now the feud that I'm doing with Mike Santana over at TNA, it's based upon his prior addictions, right? Like Santana's overcome those addictions, but the character that I have right now is bringing that to light, seeing that way he would be an unfit leader. And I honestly feel that if it was under a bigger spotlight, like if it was, you know, being showcased in a different promotion that's on television at the point, like it would get a lot more love. But because it's, you know, right now TNA is in a position where it's just available on the app, it's only available on Sky Sports in a few locations, it doesn't necessarily get the attention that it does. But honestly, right now, if you ask me, as far as in-ring, as far as presentation, as far as promo, right now, I'm doing the best work of my career right now in TNA, so I'm very happy with that.
If there's a match you've had in TNA so far that you think fans should check out and they haven't seen, if they haven't been watching or following closely, what's a match you are very proud of that you've had in TNA at this particular moment?
So matches are always hard to me to pick because I always feel like something could have been better. But actually, the last match I just had at a TNA pay-per-view event called Sacrifice, it was with against Mike Santana. That kind of kickstarted our feud. That was just you know, I almost swore here. But you guys swear here?
You can swear. It's casual conversations.
It's casual conversation.
Casual.
Bleep me out, mother. Yeah, I'm very, very proud of how that came about. So if you're not familiar with my work, 1, you're an idiot. But 2, watch Mustafa Ali versus Mike Santana.
You know, you've had quite an amazing indie run. You got to work with so many different talents during that time. You wrestled Speedball, you wrestled Fuerza out in Toronto. You were like on this tour, and what I would see every time you had a match is you would give a speech after putting over the guy you worked with.
Yeah.
And you always say, you were one of the best wrestlers I wrestled. So out of all the guys you worked on the indies, who's one of the best people you actually wrestled if you had to pick one?
So, yeah, that became a bit of a running joke, and I just told everybody, well, the promoter paid me a couple extra bucks. I'm really, really afraid right now because Shane Thorne is walking around with his phone, and I know he just took a picture of me, and I know who he's sending it to. So if a brawl erupts here right now, you guys know why. Yeah, regarding this, I honestly felt like, yeah, I might have overdone it, but coming from an indie background and knowing what it is like to struggle to get some notoriety, some spotlight, if I could say something on a microphone, if I could put someone, you know, put them on the podium, give them that attention, who knows what can come from it, because I know in the past that it has helped people. So I'll continue to do it. But if I don't feel like you're worth the Ali promo at the end of the match, I won't give it to you. But yeah, it's become a little bit of an inside joke in the locker room. Ali's gonna grab the mic and put this guy over. But I'm just trying to give back to an industry that's given me so much, you know?
You didn't give me a name, but that's okay. We'll just go right over that because I probably didn't want to. Talking about giving back to the industry, you have opened your own school. You've had a ton of great testimonials of past people you worked with and peers.
Right.
Why did you want to open a school? What's the concept behind it? And what have you learned so far since opening a school about wrestling today?
Yeah, I think training is one of the hardest things that I've ever done because I have a standard, right? Like I believe that this sport and this art it's very, very difficult and should be taken seriously. There's a lot of people that come in that want to be a pro wrestler, then they take their first bump or their first hit and they decide it's not for me. That's totally fine, but it's like that's the big thing. I'm trying to find this balance of running a business and also protecting the business that I love. So that's probably the most challenging thing, but from the flip side of it, it is very, very gratifying to see kids 3-4 months in when they finally get it, when something clicks or that move that they're struggling with, they're able to perform it. And I guess part of me is also like, I have a few younger kids in the class, like 21, 22, 23, and just to see like the bright lights in their eyes, so like they still believe this is like, not that I'm trying to sound like I'm some bitter old, torn up vet or anything like that, but it's definitely like, to see the genuine passion again. It's been a pleasure. And then also the money's amazing.
Of course the money's amazing, but if you could give any advice to anybody that was coming in or was going to come to school, what's one thing you'd want them to understand first prior to signing up or applying?
Generally my advice to anyone that wants to enter pro wrestling is run. Run far, far away. But coming to my school, just check your ego at the door, man. Have respect for what we do. Be conditioned. Take it seriously. Because why wouldn't you, right? If you're going to do this hurts. This requires a lot of time and attention and care. And if you're not committed to it, I can't understand why you would even do it. So that would be my advice. Just take it seriously.
Is the school in Chicago?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, a couple of Chicago people here. What if someone wanted to move to come train at Mustafa Ali's school in Chicago? What's so great about Chicago?
Other than me and maybe CM Punk, absolutely nothing. I can't think of what. I'm supposed to say deep dish pizza. I'm supposed to say he's really mad right now.
Yeah, he's really mad at you.
Yeah, Jordan was 96, man, I let it go. Yeah, we got nothing going for us, man. I live there. I'll protect it. But no, please don't come to Chicago. Run.
You're a big family man. You got children, you're married, you're living life. How do you find the work-life balance for yourself on the road wrestling and choosing this as a career path when you also want to, be around children and be how did that work out for you?
It's getting more difficult now because my kids are older, 11, 7, and 3, and now when I'm not home, they know I'm not home, so that I get the voice notes from them about come home, I miss you, this and that. But none of this would be possible without my wife. I said this quote before, and I'll say it again. She puts her arms around me. She becomes a cape. I become Superman. I'm able to do everything because of her. She just holds it down. Anything that's good in my life is because of my wife.
That's awesome. Let's get into some of the stuff people probably want to hear about now. I've always been curious. I know you've talked about it a bit already, but for the people in here, there was that moment. They did a whole 24 documentary on you. It seemed like you were going to win the Money in the Bank. And then Brock Lesnar came out there and just snatched the briefcase from you.
Yeah.
What was the plans? Did you think you were going to win the Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
And did you feel like that 24 documentary was?
Yeah.
And going into you winning the Money in the Bank, give us a background on that story.
Money in the Bank, Brock, all that was. I look back at it now and just laugh at it. They really went above and beyond to protect that finish. So yeah, there was a 24 documentary about me that whole week. And again, nothing was told to me, but they don't usually just shell out these documentaries for nobody, right? So we're doing this, and then I show up to the day of the event, and then I'm told hey, you're winning Money in the Bank. And I go, what? Okay. And it's even so, they went out of their way. They actually set up a ladder, and they had me climb up the ladder 3 or 4 times to retrieve the briefcase. And they're saying, we just want to make sure the height's right, that you can reach it. So, Randy Orton and Finn Balor come up to me saying, congratulations, man, this is huge. But in wrestling, you don't believe shit till it happens, right? So I'm all right. I'm just trying to stay composed. I knew something was up. Because as we're putting the match together, we would say something about so-and-so is going to come over and tip over the ladder. And then our producer of the match was no, don't tip over the ladder. That's the Money in the Bank. Why would it? And they just kept saying, avoid tipping over the ladder. I was for what? You know what I mean? So at that point I go, my spidey senses are tingling a little bit. I legit did not know that there was going to be a switch of plans until my entrance was happening. So I think Baron Corbin's making his entrance. And this is a visual for everyone to see. In Gorilla, backstage right before you go out, it's a very dark area. And Vince McMahon is sitting behind his monitor. And the producer of the match is Jamie Noble. He goes, hey, boss man wants to talk to you. Go see the boss. So I walk over and Vince does this and I lean over. And mind you, this is a time where I'm wearing like light up gear. I have a light up mask and a light up jacket and it's all kind of pulsating red. And it's completely dark, so when I'm looking at Vince, he's just all red. And he goes, change your plans. I want you to climb up the ladder, grab the briefcase, and just freeze. Don't move. And I go, okay. And he goes, someone's gonna come down, take the ladder over, and you stay down. Got it? And I go, aye, Captain. I just turn around, my music hits, and I walk out. At that point, I still didn't know who it was, but I'm not even thinking about that. I'm worried about the match ahead. So the moment comes, I climb up, and like an idiot, I do exactly as I'm told. And yes, everybody, I understand that I could have unhooked the briefcase. Thank you. I realized that maybe I was collecting a fat paycheck that day, right? So I hold the briefcase, I hear Brock's music, and I go, oh, shit. To make it worse, when Brock's running down the ramp, he basically like swipes the ladder out of the way, and it actually hits the camera guy, and busts open the camera guy's head. He gets in the ring, and I was like, oh man, Brock's gonna murder me now. He's just gonna push this ladder out and kill me. Nice as can be, he like grabs the ladder, looks up at me, and goes, you ready, kid? Yeah, and he just tips over the ladder, nice and easy, and then, yeah. But obviously, as controversial as it was, it worked, because to this day, people still talk about it. That was like, what, 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
No, yeah, so people still bring up Brock and Money in the Bank all the time.
Another thing that people remember a lot too is that you had like some of the craziest reversals to getting out of the RKO. Stuff we hadn't seen at that time. What was it like working with Randy Orton, and how did you guys come up with that?
So Randy Orton's the GOAT, obviously. He's the man. I had pitched doing this reversal to him, and at first he wasn't too keen on it, and I thought he was just trying to protect the RKO, but then he pulled me aside and explained, he goes, hey, listen, I know you want to do this like handstand block thing, but he's like, if you fuck that up, like if you botch that, he's like, this crowd's gonna boo you. Like, he's like, they're just gonna think that you took a really bad RKO. And he's like, you're in this position where you don't want, so I kind of got in my head for a second, but then for some reason something told me, I go, Randy, I promise you, I won't mess this up. So he was like, all right, like we can try it. So we did it, hit it perfectly, rolled him up, crowd came alive over there. 2 seconds later, I get the RKO. And then Randy wins the match, obviously, but in the back, he kind of jokingly came up and put his arm around me. He's like, shit, we should just put the kid over. That was great. And he walks away. I was like, oh yeah, that would be great. But yeah, Randy's a consummate professional. He's a great guy. He's been a bit of a mentor to me. So yeah, I'll always have that moment with him. And yeah, he's the man.
When you think about your style of wrestling and what you cater as a character and whatnot, like who are some of your influences? Whether they're inside wrestling or outside of wrestling, who are some people that influence you when it comes to Mustafa Ali, the character, and your style of wrestling in the ring as well?
Yeah. I mean, it means a lot for me to say this, but the guy that's influenced my style and who I am right now, a lot of you people may not know him, but I know him, and his name is Slapjack. And Slapjack was single-handedly the most influential person in my career. I mean, if it wasn't for Slapjack, I don't think I'd be here today. So without him, you know, nothing would have. And the funny thing is, there's a room full of people that have no idea what I'm talking about at this exact moment. But one person does, and that's all that matters.
Because he's in the room. But that being said, I want to ask you about 205 Live. You said a couple of things before we started this interview. And I was like, hold off, let's talk about it on the interview. But what did 205 Live mean to you? Why is it special? I mean, it kicked you off in your WWE career, but what did 205 Live mean to you?
I mean, if you look at what 205 is springboarded so many people's careers, whether they're in WWE, AEW, TNA, it was a huge launching pad. It was a huge risk that Triple H and WWE took. And obviously, we can always go back and wish that things were a little different. But at the end of the day, I'm forever indebted because that gave me a platform. I doubt most of the people in the room would even know who I am if it wasn't for that initial opportunity. My big hope one day is just because we're all so spread out and we have so many fun, not necessarily crazy, but just fun stories and that. One of my goals in the next few years is to figure out a way how we can get like a 205 Live like round table, like just all the OGs sitting down and talking about crazy nights or crazy match stipulations that got changed or storylines, and because we all have so many interesting stories about that time. But yeah, hopefully one day some sort of cruiserweight 205 Live roundtable. That'd be great. Justin, you could host a damn thing.
I could. That being said, give me like off the top of your head, maybe you have to think about it for a couple of minutes. So give me like a road story that you have that you think would be entertaining for the people here.
A road story.
A road story. Something from the road. Who you're traveling, something went down. Obviously keep it PG, I guess.
Yeah. So
I won't give a road story, right? Because those are like, yeah, there's some, but I'll give you a funny one, right? This is like when we first started out, right? Before Raw starts, there's a show called Main Event that gets taped. So I was performing on that show, and at the time I used to do this move called the reverse 450, the 054. It's like a backwards 450 splash, right? So I'm in the ring. I did this move. The match is over. I'm now walking towards Gorilla, towards backstage. Vince typically doesn't come to Gorilla until Raw starts, and Raw starts immediately after the show. So Vince is walking down the hallway to Gorilla, and he bumps into Arya Daivari. Arya is wearing a three-piece suit, and Vince goes up to Arya and goes, "Hell of a finish, kid, that was impressive," and keeps walking by. And Arya just goes, "Thanks, boss," and Arya walks by. And then I walk in and walk by, and Arya's like, "Hey, Vince totally thinks that I'm you." So just fun stories like that, you know, just starting out, nobody knows who you are like that. But road stories a little, I'll maybe for the 205 Live round, let me get it all clear and filter out. There's some wild stories there.
Going up that Vince story, I guess I must ask you, like, what does representation mean to you?
what a transition.
I know, right? I'm trying there, guys.
Yeah.
What does the representation mean to you? What does it mean to you to keep your name Mustafa Ali?
Yeah.
You know, two brown boys sitting up here right now.
Hell yeah.
Talking about wrestling. You know, what does that mean to you? Like, what does it mean to you, like, to show your culture and show that, hey, like, I'm Mustafa Ali, I've got a Muslim background, you know, what does that mean to you?
So I think representation is tricky in the sense that I'm not happy to see someone getting a role or an opportunity in the spot solely based on the fact of where they're from or what their religion is or what the color of skin is. I believe the best of the best should get the best positions, right? But on the flip side of it, it is very refreshing to sometimes tune into a program, whether it's a TV show, an athletic competition, and you see someone that you can resonate with, see someone that you identify with. Growing up, I didn't really have that, right? The closest thing I had was Muhammad Hassan, this guy that was like wishing harm upon America. Like that and like Apu from The Simpsons. Those are like my representations of pop culture. So it's crazy. Like, you know, I'll show you this video later. Like, I have friends that send me videos of like, you know, one of my friends is an allergist, so he sees kids all the time, and the kids are wearing like Mustafa Ali t-shirts, and like they'll do like videos to him and send them to me. So it's like, it's cool to see that like those kids get to see someone that looks like them and that has a name like that. And that facet of it, it's very important, it's very fulfilling and very gratifying. It's something I wish I had. At the same token, I would hate it to get an opportunity because then I was like a, what's it called, like a status thing, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we need one brown guy.
Yeah.
I don't want that. But at the same time, I'll never shy away from the fact that the Cruiserweight Classic, it was based upon international appeal. They were trying to get people from all different, so it helped me. You know, I was able to get that spot because I had a diverse background. So it's like a seesaw. There's benefits to it, but there's also that connotation that I believe the best person for that role should get that role, not solely because this will make people happy, or we hit enough demographics. But at the end of the day, it just gives me more fuel. I'm glad to represent my people. I'm glad to represent anyone that feels like, you know, they've been defined because of their name or what their background is or whatever like that. But at the end of the day, like, still gotta be good, still gotta be great.
It's 2025, and we still sometimes fall into situations where we get very stereotypical characters, if you're of some sort of nationality or whatnot.
Right.
How important is it for you to stay away from being such a stereotypical character?
So, I mean, I don't want to like cry a river about it, but I feel like my career definitely hit several roadblocks because I refused to do certain storylines or certain character pitches. And I always declined them with the most professionalism in the sense of rather than yelling like, I'm not effing doing that, it was more like, hey, I think this will hurt the company. I think this will pull advertisers. I think there'll be backlash. I was presented my no from that scenario from a professional standpoint. But at the same time, you know, I didn't want to do something that like I'd had to hide it from my kids, you know, or you know, we live in such troubled times right now where a kid can go to school and get beat up because of something they saw in the news or whatever crazy person said something online, and whoever listened to what podcast, like words are influential, right? Like we can't control what other people hear, but we can control what they see.
Yeah.
I can control what you see, the way I talk, the way I present myself, the way I carry myself. I don't want to do anything that would aid into you being influenced to harm somebody. So I took a hard stance on that, and I don't want to say my career suffered from it, but there was definitely, you know, several instances where opportunities were pulled because I wasn't going to go with the plan.
Speaking on that, there's some things that could have went certain ways, and I have to ask you, what was the entire plan from the Smackdown Hacker to Retribution? Like, where were we going with this? You know,
Yeah.
Slapjack's in the house, I don't know. What was the plan for Retribution? There was like 8 of you, then there was like 6 of you, then you turned out to be the leader, but you were a hacker briefly.
Yeah.
Like, where were we going with all? What was going on during that period of time?
So the initial pitch for the hacker came from me because I was like so many guys, there's only so much time on the show. So like a lot of people, I was at home, not doing much, paranoid for my job. So I had pitched this idea about a hacker. And you know, it was received really, really well. And then these vignettes started. And I genuinely thought I was onto something. The only actual creative plan that I knew about was that the first program, the first feud, was going to be me and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph was doing this romance story with like Mandy Sachs and Otis, and then there was going to be a Wrestlemania blow-off. And the idea is that I leak footage or somehow I inform Mandy that Dolph's intentions are true and Sonya's in on it, yada yada. So that's as far as I went. They had the Mania match, I did the hacker reveal, and then the character just died. The reason the character died is because there was a dynamic power shift at the time where Raw had its own writer and SmackDown had its own writer. I think it was Paul Heyman and Bruce Pritchard. And there was some sort of power struggle with that. And ultimately the character suffered because of that, because I believe both shows wanted the character. And there was like a fight over it.
So you suffered from being too popular?
I suffered from being too popular, legit, yeah. And I'm really tight friends with some of the social media people from WWE, and they would give me the metrics for what the hacker stuff does. And it would, because the thing was, it was speculation. At one point, people thought it was CM Punk, right? They thought it was Xavier Woods, and then, so fans are crazy in a good way. I was doing these voiceovers, and people would take software and slow down the voiceover and decode it, and you could hear my voice clearly. So then I had Xavier Woods do a voiceover for me one time. And then I had my wife do a voiceover. I had all these different people do voiceovers. At one time I thought it was Sasha. So it creates like this, you know, sense of like, well, who's this person gonna be? The hacker character died because of this power struggle. It just went away. And the next thing I know is Vince and I are having conversations about what I could do. He didn't think I could be a heel. I thought I could be a heel. He actually had me do a tryout match, not on air, against Apollo Crews to prove that I could be a heel. And I love Apollo, but we beat the out of each other, right? Like we had to show that we had that aggression. And because of that tryout match, Vince is like, all right, I got an idea for you. I didn't know that the idea was Retribution, but once I found out, that was like the day of. Shout out to Samoa Joe for putting us putting the whole reveal together for us, because what was originally laid out was horrible. But Joe helped us out with that. And then Retribution suffered because it never had a purpose. And why? It mainly suffered because Slapjack was in the group. But is anyone, can I get a round of applause for the fans of Slapjack? See? They remember you. All three of them. But honestly, as much as people poke fun at Retribution, it was a group of the hardest working guys and girls. We would get chicken shit on a regular basis. And I don't even want to say chicken salad, but something presentable we would get back. But it was like, these guys would show up and it was just, not even demoralizing, it was just like, they were beaten down so bad, and then I came in and I tried everything I could. So yes, did it fall? Did it fail? Absolutely. But the reason why is because it didn't have a why. It didn't have a purpose. And I fought that battle with them side by side, arms in arms. We fought that battle as hard as we could until it met its peaceful demise.
Hey yo, it's your boy, the Wrestling Classic, Justin here, and I'm here to tell you guys about one of wrestling's best kept secrets for merchandise, officially licensed WWE and NXT merchandise, 500level.com. Check them out, 500level.com. Get officially licensed merchandise for the WWE, NXT, UFC, MLB, NBA, NHL. They got it all. If you join the Partnership Point program as a loyal customer, you will get discounts down the road. You can find merchandise for some of your favorite NXT stars that you can't find anywhere else. Javon Evans, Kalani Jordan, Carmen Petrovic, Lola Vice, Trick Williams. They got merchandise for everybody on NXT. You got OG shirts like this NWO shirt. You got big stars like the Queen Charlotte Flair. You get new designs like this new design for Lita. You get designs I helped out with, like this design for Dakota Kai, which I was a part of creating when Dakota didn't have those many shirts going on. You can get, like I said, NXT superstars like Carmen Petrovic and many others. You can get OGs like the none other than the Hot Rod, Rowdy, Roddy Piper. You can get CM Punk, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, anybody you want. Sami Zayn's 500level.com. Check them out. You can even get the bad guy, Razor Ramon. You get your OG, like I said, logo shirts, NWO, WWF, Survivor Series, Raw's War. 500level.com. Check them out. Join the partnership program. Some of the best quality shirts, premium quality, regular quality. Some of the best product you will find out there, officially licensed WWE, NXT merchandise, and OG legend stuff. 500level.com. Check them out. Keep doing the thing. We'll see you all later. Well, nobody will ever forget Retribution, I'll tell you that. I left a lasting memory. Yeah. Let me ask you this, and how do you feel about the fact that it took you losing an opportunity for Kofimania to happen?
I was at a WrestleCon signing, and some dude comes up and just goes, "I want to shake your hand." And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "I want to thank you because you got your head caved in. We got Kofimania. Thank you." I was like, "Oh, cool." Like, glad my career-ending injury that could have possibly ruined everything for me gave you a I mean, Kobe at the time was a wonderful human being. We all know he's a terrible human being now. But Kobe was a man. Kofimania would never be touched. I could never, begin to try to fill his shoes in that. So Kofimania was something special, something organic. I don't know what the plans are. I don't think I took anyone's spot. I think I just had a great spot. I got hurt and never really was able to rebound back to that level yet. But to be able to take a backseat and watch Kofi do his thing and create this amazing moment that we're still talking about years later. And the big thing, it was like, man, you saw the clips of MVP and Shad and this crazy moment and what it meant to people. I couldn't touch it. At least at that point in my career, I couldn't touch that. So forever happy to be a small little footnote in Kofimania.
So we're here at Tailgate Social for Wrestling for Sales pop-up, and this is, Wrestling for Sale. Ted's known for his vintage merch and all the old school stuff. So I gotta ask you, growing up, who were some of your favorite wrestlers? Who made you want to get into this? And do you have any of their merch still?
Yeah, I still have, well, I don't know if I still have it, but like every brown Desi kid, I was a huge Bret Hart fan. Not as much as the Bollywood boys. They take it to a whole new level. Shout out to the Bollywood boys. But yeah, a big Bret Hart guy. I was a big Mr. Perfect guy. Macho Man, Randy Savage. Piper was my guy. I love Jake the Snake. I was a big, early 90s, over-the-top characters. I just always like, but for some reason I did identify with those work rate guys. Not that I knew what work rate was, I just love these. I love the rockers, Obviously, like Sean became what he became, like those were my guys. But I was never like a big like warrior, like Hogan guy. Like obviously, like I would cheer for them, but like I didn't like imitate them when I was like wrestling, So a 1, 2, 3 kid, a trailblazer that I don't think nearly gets enough credit for his contributions in wrestling. But yeah, those are my guys, the workhorses.
Is there one match of yours that you think is underrated, that you think doesn't get enough appreciation? Might have happened on 205 Live or something that you're like, man, only if more people got the opportunity to see this, that would have been great?
No, I'm really hard on my matches. This is like the sad thing, like 20 plus year career, like if you're like, hey, if I had to watch one match, what would it be? I haven't had that match yet. I think that's because I always know what a match could be, and then there's like these parameters that get put on it. I think the two matches I've known most for is the match with Cedric at Wrestlemania, and the other match being the no DQ match with Buddy Murphy, Buddy Matthews now. Those get brought up a lot. I have like a little bit of like a sourpuss face when those pick up, because I know what both of those matches could have been.
Yeah.
And then they got filtered slightly to like meet the requirements of what was asked for. But those two particularly, I think, are like the most brought up. So I'm probably most well known for those two. So yeah, I do have some pride in that sense. But I always go like, oh, you don't know what it could have been, because we were gonna do this, but we weren't allowed to like that. So would love one day to revisit both those matches with no restraints on it, so to speak.
Last few questions here, they're just being random stuff, and we'll wrap this up. But first things first, I always feel like a lot of people don't give, there's always like a unsung hero to your journey. Someone that helped you along the way that many people might not know, but they don't really ever get the flowers, or you give them their flowers once they pass or something.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in your journey in becoming a professional wrestler that maybe didn't make it to that WWE, AEW mainstream level, but you hold very close to you and you would want to give them their flowers right now?
So the person that I do want to give flowers to is at that level. He's a Hall of Famer for sure and whatnot. But it's actually Edge, Adam Copeland, Cope now, I guess. He had come back to the company and he was in this, I think this is the COVID area, and he had a conversation with Vince about how he could help out more. And he gave Vince a list of 5 guys he wanted to work with. And it was like me, Cedric, Buddy, Aleister Black, and I think Apollo Crews. And the big thing was like promos. So I always felt very confident with my promos. And then I went to like Adam's promo class, so to speak. And this guy, man, we would just FaceTime each other. And he goes, all right, and how are you feeling today? And I go, oh, this kind of promo. So I just FaceTimed this promo to Adam on the fly right there. And this guy just heard my promo, like my words, my struggle. And he'd sit there, he goes, why don't you try and he'd cut the same promo back to me.
Yeah.
But 100 times better with mannerisms and facials and thought. And you could see the gears, like, I'm just watching, so I owe him a lot right now. I feel like this politician, dictator-esque character that I'm doing in TNA, the cadence is just like, we'll shoot something and the director will yell cut and we'll look up and I can see everyone going, fuck. Yeah. Bro, that was, and I go, yeah, it's Edge. Edge really taught me about like how to make your words mean something, your mannerisms. And it's almost like you gotta forget that there's a camera there.
Yeah.
You gotta really cut that promo to that person. So I gotta give him his props. I don't think a lot of people know behind the scenes he'll find somebody. If you earn his respect, I think he'll give you the time of day,
Speaking of promos, you reminded me now. Obviously, you're saying you got better as time went on and after, Edge, Cope helped you. But there was a point I remember myself, you were cutting these promos on social media and you were filming them yourself. They were really good, but I was like, man, it would be great if these would be shown on TV or in daylight. But how important is it to you now, after all these years in the business, you're a vet? If you were going to tell your students that, like, okay, obviously you got to know the fundamentals, learn the wrestling, get that down, don't hurt anybody, learn how to do this properly. But how important is the promo and the character stuff? Like, how important is it that you are able to engage with an audience and talk to them and stuff?
Yeah.
I think it's single-handedly the most important thing. So yes, the fundamentals, being able to perform and put on a good match is is important. But I would say the promo work, the character stuff is even more important. This might be a little bit of an extreme example, but it always seems people understanding. If I tell you right now, like, hey man, I have this video, you want to see this guy get knocked out? You're like, sure, and I show you the video. And someone that you don't know, I show you this video and they get knocked out. Oh man, and you react to the knockout. Yeah. But now, rewind, if I come in with, hey, I have a video of your brother getting knocked out. You're like, what? And you, all this, and then you watch your brother get knocked out, and now you feel rage and anger. What's the difference? You know this person.
Yeah.
You feel something for them. You know everything about, you know their name, you know I go, that's wrestling. If we can get people to react, you know, when Cody got attacked by Kevin.
Yeah.
If you love Cody Rhodes and you hear that Kevin Owens jumped him outside by the bus and it was for real, you want to go, what? And you jump online to see what happened. That's what we need to do. That's what every wrestler should strive to be. Have people have a genuine care. They either hate you or they love you. We have to find that. They can't be disinterested in you.
No, that's fair. Okay, we'll wrap this up. Last couple of questions. I'm just curious myself, what's on your playlist? What is Mustafa listening to? What hypes you up before you go out there? What's the music?
Man,
I really got into like my cultural, like people from my background, like crossing over to like mainstream and doing,
Give me some names. I probably know that.
Raghunder.
Yeah.
I love Raghunder. I'm all about Convict as well.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
Back home in Vancouver, those are my people.
AP Dillon.
Yeah.
So like,
You have a favorite AP Dillon song?
No, I mean, Raghunder, man. Yeah. So it's like, whenever it comes up, honestly, and like a lot of it's Punjabi, and I don't speak Punjabi, but I still vibe with it. So it's like, yeah, I have an appreciation for my culture, the people in my background, like doing big things. But yeah, that's like my go-to. And then I'm a bit of like an old school guy too. A lot of Otis Redding. I guarantee half the people have no idea who that is in this room, but that's great. And then whatever Shane Thorne sends me over on his Australian playlist, I listen to.
Fair enough. Last but not least, I ask this every time to wrap things up, and I'm gonna ask you, if you were to go back and you were to talk to like 10-year-old Mustafa Ali that was sitting there watching the Macho Man and Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, what do you think you made your younger self proud?
I think when you're at that age, you dream about a world that will accept you for your talents. And the older I got, I found out that may not be the case for a lot of people. Some people will judge you on factors that you can't control. At the end of the day, I can look in the mirror and know that I knocked on every door. I pitched, I proposed, I worked hard. I was a team player. I stood up for myself when I was supposed to. Because of that, yeah, I can look at myself and be like, I know he fought the good fight.
I know I said that was the last question, but I just thought about something.
Yeah, what you got?
It happened in Chicago.
Oh, no.
Bret Hart, Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13. It's going in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You were a kid during that time when that was happening.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was it's my favorite match of all time, I'll start with that, but do you feel like that's a match that should be the first match going in the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania?
That is the first match going.
It is.
Right? Yeah, because I think despite the match being amazing, right? It was the moment. It was the moment of Stone Cold doing the push-up and all the blood coming down his face and him passing out and Bret like everything they did built up to that moment. So I think it goes in the Hall of Fame solely based on that. Like, you could just do it. I mean, they made a t-shirt out of it, right? But like, the whole thing is you could just take that one screenshot. I don't care about the match, but if you put Rock and Hogan face to face and they take, you know exactly where that's from.
Yeah.
So like, that's what wrestling's about. It's about creating these moments. So absolutely, what an iconic moment.
I'm gonna ask you this and we'll close it, and I'm gonna let you close it because you opened it and you get people's attention. But have you met Bret and have you got any advice from him?
Yeah, I bumped into a few signings and whatnot, and I had the whole thing in my head. I'm like, hey man, you're such a big but whoever was like in front of me said the exact same thing, you know? So I was like, hey Brad, like, pleasure to meet you. My name's Ollie. Like, you know, nice to meet you. Like, you know, I don't even remember so many. I can't even tell you what it's at. It was just super friendly. Like, hey, man, nice to meet you as well. Like that. And then the next person came. So just super formal.
So you didn't ask him a million things like the Bollywood boys?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I think the Bollywood boys were in front of me, by the way.
All right, thank you guys for listening and putting up with this. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation with Mustafa Ali. Make sure you guys follow him on social media. Check out TNA Wrestling and everything he's doing. If you're an aspiring wrestler, go check out his school. Go down there. Try to see if you're worth hanging out down there in Chicago, which is a lovely place according to Jamari over here. Yeah, I'll let you close out to the people.
Everybody enjoy their Wrestlemania week. Shane Thorne's over there. He feels very alone. So please go out of your way to shake his hand. Thank him for his contributions to Retribution and to pro wrestling as a whole, because none of you would be here without him. But enjoy your week and don't be a dick. Be nice to people.
Keep doing the thing. See ya.
It's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.